Hey everybody, this is Matt from Frozen Soul, live from Bloodstock Open Air, and you are watching rockflesh.com.
Rockflesh at Bloodstock. As you can see, I'm not Matt. Matt's basically off doing something probably more important elsewhere. I'm Stuart. I'm your substitute interviewer for this shows, and we are here with Matt from Frozen Soul at Bloodstock. Welcome.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. This is your first UK festival, as we were saying before.
Yeah, this is my first festival in England. We did Tulminator and Walk-In before this, but yeah, this is the first time doing a festival in England. I'm stoked to see it too. I'm stoked to hang out for the day, and I wish we had a day off tomorrow so I could catch Candlemass and a lot of the really badass bands that kind of on the bucket list. But
well, that was one of the things I was really interested in chatting with you about, because Glacial Domination, just your whole sound, it's so fucking old school, basically sort of death metal. It's like, let's get rid of all this stuff there. Was it a real choice to sort of go back to, you know, you're sat there in an Entomb t-shirt, your bandmates in a Bolt Thrower t-shirt, you know, was it a choice to go really back to the old school?
Well, I think it's just kind of natural. I think that that's what kind of comes to us whenever we write stuff. The first thing that comes out is, you know, kind of an old school formula and old school stuff, and we just kind of build off of that, you know, and then have fun with it, see where we take it. But, you know, it's always something that we like, you know. We don't write something that we don't like, you know, and that's the music that we like to hear, is the old school, you know, and that's where it comes from. You know?
And that's one of the things that really sort of struck me of listening to Glacial Domination, is the fact that this is a band having fun and playing for the sake of having fun and playing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was fun writing it, it was fun recording it, just unforgettable time, you know.
And you had, you know, a lot of really interesting guests on it. You know, the way I found really, you know, you got to talk about the old school thing, but then you had Ghost doing their really weirdy techno, synthy, wavy, whatever the fuck that is stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how the hell did that come about?
Well, that comes from our taste too, and also he's a Texas family too, so we wanted to give a lot of our Texas homies kind of features on the record as well. You know, we also had Blake from Power Trip on there, and Reese from Creeping Death on there, and we like to give back to our home and let everyone kind of be a part of it too, and yeah, it's just fun for
the Ghost thing really, as I said, really worked, you know, because you're doing your very, you know, sort of simple, not simplistic, but very minimalistic, you know, sort of, you know, death metal stuff, and then he's doing his weird keyboard thing. I think I really liked about that, it was all the interludes between the tracks. You know, you had it felt like almost listening to a concept album, in the fact that there wasn't that gap. You had you had those weird sort of samples between each of the tracks.
Right, that's what we were going for, because we also enjoy that stuff too. You know, between listening to metal and heavy stuff, you know, we also like a lot of synth wave and dark wave and some ear candy too, you know, in between, you know. Keep it fun, keeps it fresh, you know.
Excellent. And as we said, you know, first UK festival, you know, you were over our way earlier in the year supporting Dying Fetus, and we were just talking about the Manchester show, which was fucking A, you know, to be honest. You know, there's a part of you still pinch yourself and think, fucking hell, we're actually now touring the world, we're playing festivals, we're going around Europe.
Dude, yeah, I have to do it almost every day on this one. I gotta like pinch myself every morning and every night after we play and stuff, like, wow, this just happened. It's mind-blowing out here. The support for metal out here is just unmatched. I mean, they show up and they're all about it, singing every word, chanting along. In Poland, I didn't know what to expect when we went out there. That was our first time in Poland for 2 shows with Dying Fetus, but yeah, they were like, the first time, you know, everyone's just chanting along to everything and chanting along to the beat, and it's cool, man. It's very its own vibe, you know. We don't get that everywhere, you know.
And so, what are your? As I said, this is your first European festival, you know, circuit. You've been round. You know, have you got? You know, we were saying before, you know, you're in Southampton last night. You got to see Stonehenge, but have you got to see much places, or is it just van, basically festival backstage, van festival backstage?
When we have the time, we definitely try to break out and go see some stuff. You know, like you mentioned the Stonehenge yesterday. We went out to Salisbury. A few of us did, and ventured out to the Stonehenge. We actually had a really cool cab driver show us a a little back trail that we could go see it at, and didn't have to pay tickets for it, because we were a little bit late, like trying to figure out how to get out there and take trains and find our way around. But that was an experience. In Vienna, we went to St. Stephen's Cathedral, and we saw the catacombs there, and that was really cool. We always try and break off and do something local, you know, and really take in the place that we're at, aside of just the music scene and playing the show and stuff, you know, because it's great for mental health and mental energy to be able to go see all that and take in where you're at, you know. And
so do you still feel you're at the stage where this is all just really exciting? Because, you know, we were talking about Candlemas before, you know, they've been doing this for 35 fucking years, you know, but is it still for you just still this eye-blowingly exciting time of basically fucking hell, we're doing a festival?
Yeah, I feel like a kid again. You know, I feel like I'm born again whenever I come out here and see a lot of this stuff, you know, and go out, like I said, you know. Yeah, it's totally different. It's not America, that's for sure.
and that's a really interesting thing, because as I said, the death metal you're doing, it's very European, if not very British. You know, the nearest, you know, experience I can find to it is Bolt Thrower. It sounds, if Bolt Thrower had made another album, the Glacial Domination is the album Block Thrower would made, you know.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. We're kind of going for a blend of sort of everything that we like, and a lot of it is you know, English and European stuff, you know. But Bolt Thrower's a big one, man. That's from day one. That's been probably one of the top bands that influences us and our sound, you know. And I think not everybody picks up on that though, which sort of surprises me. But it's in there though. That's definitely a huge part of our DNA.
It's the one that jumped out at me first of all. Not just the musical, but just that DIY aesthetic. You know, the greatest thing about Bolt Thrower is the fact they had day jobs all the way through the fucking thing, so they could actually make the decisions they wanted rather than do what record company wanted them to do.
And those guys came from a lot of punk rock and hardcore too, and so do a lot of the core of our band too. You know, we spent a lot of years playing punk shows and DIY venues and stuff like that, just hundreds of them, you know, over and over again. Hundreds of shows at you know, a lot of the same DIY venues and stuff, but also touring and playing at houses and stuff like that. Like that's where us and our old bands and our history leading up to this kind of come from, is that. And Bolt Thrower had the same thing too. You know, they liked all the same stuff. They liked Sacrilege and a lot of UK punk and Discharge and stuff like that. And we have that in our DNA too. It's definitely in there.
And Discharge is really interesting, because you talk to any American band and literally the word Discharge will come out. It's, you know, in fact, I think, you know, Discharge over here, you know, play tiny places in the UK, yet you talk to an American rock band and they will start basically telling you how wonderful Discharge are. It's really interesting.
It's a definitive UK band for sure. For sure. If you guys haven't checked out enough Discharge, you should definitely do so. Great
Heard
band.
it from the man himself. Go download some Discharge. So, talking about that, you know, let's ask a little bit of an irreverent question. So, we're at Bloodstock. If you had basically Frozen Soul Fest, or basically Frozen Soul Stock, the best way to describe it, who would be on the bill?
Pretty much bands that, we have a similar thing. We have our own fest, Wrecking Ball in Dallas, actually. It's going to be Halloween weekend this year. It's going to be at the Echo Lounge. It's a pretty big place. We had it last year. This year it's going to be for 2 days, and there's an after party after the 2 days.
So do the sell, you know. But you don't want to go and get tickets, guys? A
lot of the bands that came up around the same time we did and are touring and putting in, you know, similar work that we are and stuff, we look at that, and that's what we put on, you know, bands of the same ilk, doing the same thing, you know. Same work ethic, you know. Work ethic is kind of like a thing that we look at and see for sure. And that was something, you know, again, I was really interested, because that seems to run through your DNA, of the fact that there's not a rock star vibe here. This is basically actually, you know, we're going to work fucking hard for this, and we're going to do it. You know, is that a Texas thing, or is that just something you've been instilled by your parents, or there's just a very, you know, there isn't that sort of expecting things on the plate? I think each of us had that kind of in us. Each of us in the band have had that instilled in us, probably from birth, because we applied that same energy to all of our past projects, you know, just not all of the other members did too at the same time, but we brought it together with this band, and that work ethic is there, and I think that's what solidifies the Texas scene that we come from, is that we all kind of share that same work ethic, have played the same places and deal with the same people and stuff like that. So we're a family in that sense, you know, and we stay together, you know.
And we can't talk about that scene and not talk about Power Trip.
Sure.
And that whole, you know, and you know, how it has the scene recovered yet, or is there still, you know, is the scene still in mourning?
It's still, you know, it's not quite the same without them around, I will say that. It's not quite the same without them around. The Fugitive has been taken off, and that's been a really good refreshment since then, which is Blake's other band that he started, and it's still very much in a thrashy, like Sodom kind of vein, you know. Still very much got that old school feel and that groove. It's got a Power Trip feel to it, you know, and it's helping, you know, it's helping. And,
I saw Power Trip played here about 4 years ago, and they were on at something like 10:45 in the fucking morning, and they were astounding. Absolutely, it was one of those, you could just see the crowd grew almost minute by minute as they walked past going, what the fuck is this?
Man, yeah, I watched that set, and that just blew my mind, dude, how crazy it was. Like, you know, I watched that set not too long before heading to this festival too, and yeah, it's crazy. They're a great band. They always put on a great show. Riley was a great front man. He knew all the things to say. He knew exactly how to command a crowd, man. And it was, yeah, that was a special time, very special time in the Dallas scene, all of Texas, but Dallas particularly, because, you know, special band for me to watch since their inception. I saw their first show with like Blacklisted, was it back in 2008, and just to see them keep growing from there, and like, I mean, they popped off right away from the first show on, but to see them keep growing was a really special thing for me and everyone else who was there to see it. Pretty much everyone in the band, you know, got to see it, and yeah, that was a great band, one of my favorite bands ever. You know?
They were. Again, if you haven't checked out Power Trip,
yes,
go and check out Power Trip.
Absolutely.
So let's go back. But let's go back to Frozen Souls. We're talking about you. You know, album Glass for Domination, fucking brilliant. You know, I think it's going to feature in a number of top 10 lists of the year. There was such a buzz about it when it came out. You know, where are you on the album cycle? You know, how much longer are you planning on promoting it before you go back in the studio?
Well, we're going to go out for it. We just announced a U.S. North American headliner. It's got 2 Canada shows on it, but that'll be in the fall time. We're taking out 200 Stab Wounds and Judiciary and Tribal Gaze. So some Texas bands in there too, and then that's going to be really good. That's going to kind of be the pinnacle for this year for that album campaign, but it's still going to go well into next year too, and we still got big plans to take it around with us next year.
So to ask the obvious, you know, you're out with Dying Fetus earlier in the year, you're back at doing festivals. Are you coming back to Europe again?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should be back in February headlining. You know,
okay, you know, exclusive. You've heard it first. So that would be brilliant, and a headline tour. That would be absolutely excellent.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's going to be something else. You know, I can't wait for that. We've done a few headlining shows at the clubs in between these festivals, and that was sort of a taste of what's to come. And I can't wait. You know, it's always such a blast coming out here.
How much do you get a say, you know, how much do you get a say in organising that? Is it, you know, sort of, do you get to go, oh, be good to go here, to get to go here, or is it very much dictated to you by, you know, the tour managers and the structures?
It's mostly tour managers and such. We have somewhat of an input on it, but it is mostly dictated around that and what else we have before and after too, you know, just to make sure that the markets are going to be good, you know, and stay fresh with us, you know. We don't hit the same place too many times in a time period.
Right. We've been trying to be drowned out by whoever is in the stage over there, so I'm going to bring this to an end, but I've got one question first, which is our irreverent to everyone. So if we were going to make a Frozen Soul cocktail, so if we were going to say to the bar there, we're going to make the Frozen Soul cocktail, what would be in it?
I would say, you're talking like actual liquor?
Actually liquor, whatever you want. You know, if you want a petroleum in there, you can put petroleum in there, but you know, if you were going to make a Frozen Soul cocktail, what would be in it?
Blue Carousel and Rumplemints.
Right.
That's probably what it would be.
Fair enough. So you want to go off and order a frozen sole? It's blue caramel and rumple seeds.
Yeah, Blue Carousel, which is like blue tropical mix, and Rumplemints. Yeah, pretty hardcore. Someone, one of our friends at a local bar made that a frozen sole shot for us. It had something else in it, but I can't remember. The Blue Carousel and the Rumplemints were the most dominant that I could remember from that drink.
Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Hey, thank you all for having me.
No, thank you. So, we've been here on rockfresh.com. Don't forget even to subscribe and do all that bits and pieces, and we'll see you soon from Bloodstock. And Matt, have a really good show. We'll see you down front.
Hey, thank you very much.
Brilliant. Cheers, thank you.